Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Today Ukraine was under Russian rocket attack again, however Russia somehow launched their rockets with the small portions like 5 or 10, so most of them were shot down by Ukrainian air defense. We're gonna speak about that attack a little bit later. Now let's go to the military map, and here we have some of the movement in Lugansk region. Let's go to the timeline as well. So it was yesterday and it is today, so you see this gray area moved a little bit towards the Russian side, towards east. So it was yesterday and today, yet Ukrainian forces are far away from Crimea, but I think we're gonna get to this town very soon. I expect this week, and also we're pushing more towards east. I wonder why we stopped our massive counterattack that was last week. Probably it's our usual strategy to pause a little bit, to put new supply lines, because we moved for let's say how far. Yeah, 25 kilometers. It's quite far away, so without the proper logistics we can mess up this operation. That's why it's very important to constantly supply our forces and put new artillery systems to the front lines. And I still do expect that Svatovo city will be liberated very soon. Now let's go a little bit to the south, to Bakhmut city, where the situation is the standstill for Russia. Actually, Ukrainian army start some sort of the small counterattack in this area in Kurdimivka. Let me show you the timeline. So we pushed Russians away a little. So it was yesterday, it's today, or probably it's just a map correction for this area. Russia still attempting to reach Bakhmut city, but unsuccessful, and they have huge losses in that area. As for the south, situation is a standstill, no offensive action from either of the side. However, the fighting continues. Russians regroup their forces, put reinforcements from Kherson itself, and Ukraine should put new supply lines again and put more artillery systems to continue the counterattack on Kherson. Probably we're gonna go from this direction and from this one as well. Situation on the north, well, we got the information that Belarusian forces concentrated around 6 battalion tactical groups, which is roughly 6,000 soldiers. Also, we got the information that Russian forces were sent to the border with Ukraine. Also, Russians say that they sent mobilized soldiers, around 15,000 mobilized men, also to Belarus. Where they will be positioned, so far we don't know. But Belarus continued to send their weaponry to Russian side. So actually, tanks were taken from Belarus recently. Around 30 tanks, T-72 tanks, were delivered to the Russian side. So that is why I do not expect that Belarus will openly enter this conflict, invading this part of Ukraine. The same conclusion I read in article of the Institute of the War Researches. They say that it's highly unlikely that Belarus enters this conflict in nearby future. However, still they position the threat for Ukraine. That is why we should keep our forces very close to Belarusian border. And today it was the G7 urgent meeting, and President Zelensky was there by online, and he asked our Western allies to provide some kind of peacekeeping operation in that area, and that may help Ukraine to release the forces to fight against Russians. Because yes, we have the big army, but it's dispersed across the front lines, and also we should keep lots of our forces here in this area to avoid the risk of being attacked as it was in February this year. And before we go to the latest news and events, let me tell you about my Telegram channel. It's in the video description just below. I regularly publish there the current situation in Ukraine, events, and the content that I cannot publish on YouTube. So please subscribe for my Telegram channel. I have around 50,000 subscribers there already, so thank you so much for your kind support. Right, great news for Ukrainian soldiers. It was the exchange of the war prisoners, and we have those guys at home. Awesome. Still, there are lots of the warriors in Russian prison, and we need to get them out, because the condition in Russian prison is terrible, and many people unfortunately die there. President Zelensky said about 28 rockets that Russia used today for the attack, and 20 rockets were shot down by Ukrainian air defense. Also, Russia used 15 of the drones. Most of them are kamikaze drones, and also the majority were shot down. You know, for me it's quite strange that Russia uses a military to fight against civilian infrastructure and civilians. But my friends, I have two of the possible logical reasons for that. First is to demoralize Ukrainian people and soldiers on the front line. The second possible reason is to rise up riots or to change the common society mind that we should stop this war and start to negotiate with Russia, because without basic needs like electricity, water and heat during the winter time, it would be hard for civilians to withstand the winter colds. Also, Russian propaganda say that they should strike the food supplies for Ukrainian people to cause the massive hunger in Ukraine. But I'm 100% sure that all of those reasons simply will not work for Ukrainian society. We have hatred towards Russia, towards their government, and that is why we're going to continue to fight. By fighting, I mean fighting on the front lines, fighting here on media, and also fighting behind the front lines. So for every soldier, we need around 10 men or women working to supply that soldiers with what the soldier needs. And yes, obviously it may strike Ukrainian infrastructure. It already touches our life because half of the day we have a blackout. And even if we'll have no electricity, nothing, we're still gonna find a way out, and we're gonna keep fighting for our freedom. And there is one more reason for Russian attacks. It's illogical, but I think it's reasonable for Putin and his circle, that they simply hate Ukraine. They want us to extinct as Ukrainians. So you see a pure genocide live in 21st century. And Putin is the greatest terrorist from all times. Putin is very similar to Osama. Osama got the same rhetorics towards the Western countries. The only difference probably is that Osama got the beard and Putin has nuclear weapons. And this is the Russian propaganda channel. They continue to say that they should continue to bomb Ukrainian cities. They show the results, the dead people in their cars on their propaganda TV, happy about it. And they say that they should destroy everything, all of the electrical supply lines, all of the food chains and everything. As for me, it's very strange that some of the countries try to justify what Putin does in Ukraine. And what evidence do you need? They go on genocide, open air, live in their propaganda media, in their actions. So I wonder why Russia is still in international organizations like United Nations. I wonder why people or countries continue to trade with Russia. For me, it's one more sign that many countries simply doesn't care about suffering of the people elsewhere in Ukraine, in Africa, in any kind of regions. They take care only about their wealthness. And if we as humanity proceed on that road, in future there will be a devastation and terror around the world. So the terror should always be punished, otherwise it will explode and cause global terror or maybe global war. And this is the RST air defense system that was delivered already to Ukraine. The image was taken near to Polish border. We need many of those. One system is simply not enough. You see that Russia may fire many rockets and you just use this one system for one day, then you are out of rockets, and what is next, we don't know. NATO goes on military drills using their nuclear weapons. They will not test them, but they will go with the procedures how to use them in case Russian threat using nuclear weapons for the NATO countries. This is the map of today's rocket attack. Lviv city was hit hard. They lost the power plants and now they have big problems with electricity. All of the rockets that were directed to target Kiev were shot down by our air defense. Just to remind you, Ukraine simply doesn't have properly working air defense systems. All we have is anti-aircraft systems, not anti-rocket systems. The most powerful that we have is S-300 that was designed to target airplanes. and it has the option to target rockets, but not very successful. We have a notice from Washington that President Biden will send the anti-aircraft and anti-rocket systems to Ukraine very soon. We expect NASAMS systems to be delivered to Ukraine. President Zelensky today said that he got insights from intelligence services that Russia put the order for 2,400 Shahed 136 kamikaze drones for Iran. And you know what? I haven't heard about the new sanctions applied to Iran. Interesting. Right, my friends, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation here in Ukraine. Now please press the like to this video because it helps to spread my content all around YouTube. And if you want financially support this channel, there are some of the links under this video. You may support me on Patreon, PayPal or Donatello, whichever you like. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are. Have a great time.